Imagine waking up one morning and discovering your savings are gone. The bank is closed. Your job is gone. And the world outside feels uncertain. That was life for millions of people in the 1930s. This was the Great Depression. But here's the question. How did the wealthiest nation on earth collapse so fast? To understand it, we need to go back to the 1920s, the roaring 20s. Cities were booming. Jazz filled the streets. New cars rolled off assembly lines. Radios connected people like never before. The future looked unstoppable. And the stock market? It was like a rocket, climbing higher every day. People believed the good times would never end. But here's the catch. Much of that growth was built on credit. Investors borrowed money to buy stocks. Farmers borrowed to plant bigger crops. Families borrowed for homes and new gadgets. Banks lent freely, confident that prices would always rise. But can any bubble last forever? In October 1929, it burst. The stock market crashed. Billions of dollars in value evaporated almost overnight. People who thought they were rich found themselves with nothing. It was the biggest financial collapse the world had ever seen. But the crash was only the spark. The fire spread because the banking system was weak. People panicked and rushed to pull money out. Banks collapsed under the pressure. And when banks failed, businesses lost credit. Without credit, factories closed, shops shut down, and workers were sent home. By 1933, unemployment reached 25%. 1 out of every 4 people had lost their jobs. Families lost their homes. Some people lived in makeshift shacks. Others lined up at soup kitchens, waiting hours for a single bowl of soup. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, nature struck. The Dust Bowl swept across the middle of America. Fierce winds carried away the soil, turning farmland into desert. Crops withered. Families packed up and left, chasing any chance of work hundreds of miles away. Can you picture loading all your belongings onto a truck and driving into the unknown, not sure where you'll sleep that night? That was the reality for thousands of families. Daily life was a struggle. Some people sold apples on street corners. Others traded what little they had with neighbors. Communities worked together to survive. And even through the hardship, people held on to hope. So how did America fight back? In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt became president. He promised a New Deal. What did that mean? It meant jobs programs to put people back to work. It meant building roads, bridges, and dams. It meant new rules to protect banks and savings accounts. For the first time, the government stepped in on a massive scale to help ordinary people. But was the New Deal enough? Some say yes. It gave hope and stability. Others argue it didn't end the Depression completely, and they're right. The economy improved, but millions were still out of work. So what finally ended it? The answer was World War II. As factories shifted to building tanks, planes, and weapons, jobs returned. Production soared. Unemployment fell. By the 1940s, America wasn't just recovering, it was thriving. But here is something to think about. The Great Depression didn't just end with war and recovery. It left a legacy. Banks were reformed. Social safety nets were created. The relationship between citizens and government changed forever. And the story doesn't end there. Every financial crisis since has been measured against the Great Depression. It remains a warning of what happens when greed, risk, and weak systems collide. So ask yourself, could something like this ever happen again? Some economists say no, our systems are stronger today. Others warn that history has a way of repeating itself. The Great Depression was more than numbers on a chart. It was families struggling to eat, workers searching for jobs that didn't exist, farmers watching their land blow away. But it was also a story of endurance, of people finding ways to hold on when everything seemed lost. And maybe that's the greatest lesson. No matter how dark the times, people can rebuild. Societies can recover. Hope can survive. So when you hear the words Great Depression, don't just think about money. Think about resilience. Think about survival. And remember, our world today was shaped by the lessons learned in that storm. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.